Chris Pollard live. You saved me a fortune on my weekend food delivery.
This the only show that lets me be on top of what's happening in my community. Words of your mother's vegetable patch. It's time for Chris Pollard live.
Thank you for my new dishwasher, Chris Pollard live.
Chris Pollard live, thank you for keeping me to date with what's happening in our villages and areas of interest.
By good God Almighty, the corruption and inequality that we face today must be destroyed. But only one radio show has the power to do so. Thank you for healing the nation. Chris Pollard, live.
It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Welcome back, my dear friends, to Chris Pollard Live, where tonight we treat your worries like curries, we treat your grief like beef, and we treat your sadness like thick onion gravy. I couldn't think of a name for that last one. Let's make a meal of it tonight together, as once again we are broadcasting live here from the Chris Pollard Live Community Contact Centre on DAB radio, online and live in video from the community centre on mixcloud.com/live/Durham on air. Quickly approaching us tonight with the velocity of a firework-powered squirrel is 2 hours of advice, prizes, opportunities, unnecessarily loud music, and this season's newest camping equipment, which we're going to be assembling live here in the studio and seeing if we can get off to sleep before the end of the show. But before we can dip into any of that, we must first plunge a heartfelt thank you out to our show's sponsors, who are this evening. Wednesday night, Channel 4, a Dispatches special on the recent fall from good grace suffered by Holly Willoughby. From the controversy in the queue to tipping over 4 fruit machines that didn't put her on the main feature in her local snooker hall. Please, this Wednesday night at 10 p.m, I beg of you, don't miss Willoughby, My Life in Pita Breads. Chris Pollard Live tonight is also sponsored by Brimp Creshalam's man-sized ibuprofens. Order more than 20 today to receive 6 points on your driver's license. We are sponsored tonight by award-winning Indian buffet restaurant The Poppadom Paradox, and we have been funded in part, very kindly, by the Sisterhood of the Seven Shimpads. This week, across our local cities, towns and villages, we have been dealt many mysterious newsworthy happenings, such as the rumoured permanent closure of County Durham's oldest remaining mosquito petting zoo, along with the very much confirmed news that our very own Beamish will soon be host to the 2023 Scratch and Sniff Awards. We were dealt, of course, the sad news that Michael Owen refuses to wear anything on his feet when travelling on a Trans-Pennine rail service. But of course, we were lifted up yesterday when we heard the news that he had been arrested in Bolton for using his vape pen to disguise the cheesy, musky odour emanating from his feet. He's been sentenced to 53 years in prison, and his rail card has since been fed to a nearby chaffinch. Let's see what else might be particularly hard to swallow on tonight's programme. Because on tonight's programme we're going to be opening 10 more packs and hopefully finding the last sticker that we need to complete our 2022-23 Women of Pro Snooker sticker book. We're also going to be hearing an exclusive debut track from local lads Monge 2, who will be calling in for a chat ahead of their first play in the world of their lead single Petit Point, which, if I remember my French from school, is French for pathetic peas. Yes. More knowledge and facts straight from that school of thought after a song by Arthur Brown. I'll see you shortly. It's Chris Pollard Live. It really is.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. I'll take you to burn.
This is Chris Pollard Live. Radio for Wasps. Yes, welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. Kind regards and shuffle yourselves a little bit forward so you all can hear me. It's Chris Pollard Live and we're back in business. What business, you ask? That's none of your business. In brackets, credit card fraud. Still to come on tonight's programme, Can I Wear Shoes Back to Front? You've just heard Arthur Brown with Fire, and still to come tonight we've got a whole host of eclectic music from the Slackers, System of a Down, Scalping, and we're about to hear one from 10cc. It's probably the one you're thinking about. If you want to get in touch to tonight's Chris Pollard Live, then by all means you are free to do so. You can text studio plus your message to 88802. You can email studio@durhamonair.com, or you can tweet at CPL Infodesk. That's at CPL Infodesk. Still to come later on tonight, it's going to be our first attempt at setting up a community-based live radio artwork session where you good listeners at home have been setting up your equipment today, ready to join in tonight to have some fun sketching away at home. This week we are going to be attempting a still life piece, and my model for the evening, Hector, will be arriving soon, and hopefully I'll be able to describe his sort of nude geriatric frame well enough to inspire some homemade masterpieces, or at least get a few callers to phone in and complain. Either or, I've already paid him 400 quid, and that's quite a good price for someone you meet at the bus stop. Yes, there was Arthur Brown with Fire, and if you are happy and you know it, clap your glands. Hey, because Dr. P is in the building to resume my remedies, the distribution and application of which, in the hopes that one day I will finally be recognised as the medical pioneer that I truly feel that I am, and not the dangerous psychopath I've been made out to be in our local newsletters and gazettes. I return to this section of the show due to a correspondence, so let's travel over and don my doctor thing.
Dr. P's Health and Spirituality Advice Lifeline.
Because I received quite a worrying letter this week, and I just thought it would be best to get this out of the way now, get it out and done early, and hopefully continue the healing process that will progress throughout the evening. We had a correspondence come through from none other than Nice Keith, one of the loveliest men that County Durham has to offer. And he wrote to me, Dr. P, recent issues with my knees and back are preventing me from undertaking my public acts of niceness to my fellow bus passengers, in brackets, tying undone shoelaces, removing debris from trousers, untying and retying laces that appear to be too long or not strong enough to withstand moderate travel. A visit to my doctor and the subsequent therapist he got me in touch with both gave me the recommendation to simply no longer perform my nice acts of kindness to strangers on the bus until my knees are healed up. This simply won't do, or my name isn't Nice Keith. Do you have any alternative treatments that will still allow me to live by my namesake? Yours truly, Nice Keith. Well, Mr. Keith, I mean, I remember you quite fondly. It was the 38 service into town a couple of weeks ago, and you really gave my Crocs a good polishing. And I must say, you did a great job eating all those peanuts that I nearly stepped in. I'd hate to see you out of action personally for a prolonged period of time. and this letter did sort of shake me in a way. So what I've done since receiving it, I've spent the past few days designing and creating sort of a makeshift cushioned skateboard system that will not only allow maximum comfort as you provide your nice acts, your generous, kind acts to strangers, but the added speed, which will be encouraged by the movement of the bus, could mean that you can please everyone with nice little things, everyone on the bottom deck within 5 minutes. And that means you've still got time to go up to the top deck and please everyone up there as well. I'm going to be sending this contraption over to you to the address that you initially wrote from. I did put it in Google Maps and it was a car park behind a bus depot, but it's going to go there anyway with your name on. And I've also enclosed a little signed photograph of my Uncle Charlie breaking his leg trying to dismount a space hopper. One of the greatest days of my life. If you have any ailments or failments in life, message me today and Dr. P can start the rehabilitation process live on the radio in public. And as always, every appointment finishes with a kiss.
Yo, what up? This your boy. You're listening to Chris Pollard Live, and I gotta tell you, I love licorice.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, yes. Welcome back to Chris Pollard Live, where hope is just something like chicken gravy. You pour it on your biscuits before the barbecue. You just heard Saturn's Bars by Gorillaz, featuring Popcorn from that quite underwhelming Humans album. Great track though. Tonight, not only are we going to be dishing out some advice, some guidelines, and some possible job opportunities for you, along with the latest advice in farm-based fashion. Tonight we are also going to be offering you a chance to win some luxury prizes, and the way that we normally do that here is with our big question, big prize. And why deviate from that formula now?
The big question.
And tonight's big question here on Chris Pollard Live could get you in with the chance to win our big question, big prize, which is tonight 10 extra small to extra large various colour t-shirts from Asda. The security tags are still on, and there may just be a drop or two of blood on them, but a big shout out tonight as well, I must say at this point, to Josh, Tom, Az and Gaz, the four wonderfully helpful, if not heavy-handed members of the Asda security workforce, who did manage to locate my residential address, and they came around in the dead of night to give me a good old slice of reality cake, and then they kicked my head in. But that is the price that you pay for good quality cotton V-necks in a cost of living crisis. So shout out to you boys, they forced me to say that point as well. So tonight's big question, with the best answer going on to win our prize. What's the best way to distract or evade supermarket security once the alarm's already gone off? I think that was my problem. To help me out, you can text studio plus your advice to 88802. You can tweet CPL Info Desk. You can email studio@durhamonair.com. What's the best way to distract or evade supermarket security once the alarm's already gone off? Still to come later, we're going to be shooting some hoops with none other than Beatrice Kokaliki, Olympic silver medalist and the brains behind one of Britain's leading soups. We're going to be dunking, dribbling, and delving into the story behind her frankly stupid-sounding surname. It's time for some more music, praise be. Here's Shut Up by Madness. I'll shut up, and I'll see you in a few minutes here on Chris Pollard Live. Shall we? Yes, we certainly shall. See you there. Take care.
Chris Pollard Live. My uncle wears a wig on DAB and online radio.
Welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. There was Shut Up by Madness. I've just noticed as well, I forgot to get through. At past, I should have said, our 9:30 sponsor this week is Wobbly Ron's Sex Crisps. There was Shut Up by Madness, of course. And tonight on the show, if you, like me, have severe ligament damage in the legs, in your calves, due to all the queuing you've been doing this weekend, what better time than now would it be to sort of pop our collective feet up on the puffy of love and get lost in the world of literary wonder and join me here for another edition of the Chris Pollard Live Book Club. Yes, welcome back, fellow wordaholics. We first, of course, begin tonight with a group discussion on the last book that I recommended us all to read before the sort of sabbatical break we've been on. That was, of course, the newest volume of love stories by acclaimed romanticist Boris Johnson. Split into 5 tales based very closely around his own experiences, The Totty What I Done Up the Duff is receiving some rave reviews from some raving right-wing readers, all the way from Dusseldorf to the Pamplona Bull Run Organisation Committee based in Skegness, England. Full of fascinating twists, my favourite of which being the fact that all 5 stories were alleged to have taken place within the same 3 weeks. And of course, during that 3 weeks, his wife at the time was in hospital with a series of infected hermit crab bites. And they really do bite. I thoroughly personally enjoyed this romp through the underwear drawer of one of our time's most passionate liars. And I personally would have given it the full 5-star treatment had the enclosed antics not been part of the reason I've got a £5,000 electricity bill this year. But that's mainly just to keep the charge going on my electric sex eggs. I asked you good folk over the break what you thought of it. You've had plenty of time to read it and you've had plenty of time to get back to me. Straight in, Eric emailed in to say, I think this book shines a brave new light on the author. I'm not sure where all this woke condemnation comes from. As far as I can read, he's got all the big calls right and he's certainly tried his best through some tough times and some even tougher breakups via text. I'm still yet to read the book fully, however, as I was born without eyeballs. Our next is from Mavis, a disgusting tribute to a disgustingly handsome, toned and chiselled patriot. I would have let him do the same to me too if I was a young intern feeling the pressure of the power structure around me. But I wouldn't have gone on moaning about it and trying to cash in. He gave you a baby for crying out loud is nothing magical anymore. My legs currently are at 10 to 2, but that's arthritis for you, and I can't reach that far down to put my creams on. Our final review's coming from Daz, who wrote, I waited 35 minutes for a medium rare steak, and upon arrival, the waiter took it off my plate and slapped my wife with it. It looks like Daz has sent a review to the wrong place, but I hope you enjoyed the book, and the steakhouse in question receives a 5-star recommendation from yourself for all the red-hot, meaty action that takes place within. If you want to be a part of the Chris Pollard Live Book Club, it's free to join as long as you're good at stealing books from Waterstones. The next book club reading recommendation for you to study in time for the next Chris Pollard Live Book Club is the newly released crime thriller from none other than James Patterson, The Policeman's Parsnip. It's about 20 quid in Asda, or you could get a coat from George for 14 quid with big pockets, because you can't wear a book when you're running away from the police in the rain. On that subject, we've got more of your answers to the big question tonight, the best ways to evade supermarket security, but that's going to be coming up shortly after some Primus. Yes, again, on Chris Pollard Live. I'll see you after that, yeah? Welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. A lone hamster on a wheel big enough for 2 guinea pigs. I'm hopelessly devoted to shoes. Earlier in the show, we provided you with an offer to win a fantastic chance to win a fantastic prize with tonight's big question. And tonight's big question, of course, was what is the best way to distract or evade supermarket security once the alarm has already gone off? We've had lots of entries so far just in that short period. First up, coming up from Geraldine Fishwick, who's wrote in via email, who said that her top tip is to always make sure you arrive at the store with a little bit of sand in your unused pockets that you're not thieving in. A handful thrown directly into the eyes is usually enough to give me a long enough head start to eat the whole box of cereal that I've nicked before anyone can catch up to me. Quite an accomplishment. Nigel via Twitter, that's a quite strange surname. I work as a security guard for Morrison's and I only take chase to those shoplifters who have the gall to steal but not pick me anything up. If you're going to do your business next time, why not think about the bloke who's only there to keep an eye on you, the shoplifter? And it's not like his kids get him anything for Christmas anymore. Weird. We've got more of those coming in a little bit later on and indeed throughout the night between now and 11 p.m. The best of which winning our big question, big prize, those 10 t-shirts from extra small all the way through to extra, extra large, various colours, varying amounts of blood on each of them, all with the security tag still on. So get one of them good magnets. I don't know how they do it. They've got some sort of magnet system. Or a very small person with strong arms under the till. It's time for us once again to indulge our minds, our bodies, our spirits with the informative ranking system that has never before been attempted by any form of entertainment program. It is, of course, your top 5. Top 5 news items from this past weekend. Number 5, a queue. Number 4, a queue. Number 3, a queue. Number 2, a queue. Number 1. Bless you, is your hay fever bad again?
Chris Pollard Live. Cottage cheese.
Yes, okay. Welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. A lesson to be learnt for those who were burnt. There was a holy F with X'd eyes, and it's a risky play. There's no swearing in the song. You can't fault that production. What a great tune that is. Before that, you heard 2 + 2 = 5 by Radiohead, of course. And it's about this time of show. It's about this time of night in the show where we indulge once again upon those postings and public notices that you, good people of Durham, have placed upon. The cat is climbing on me. Come on then. Have placed amongst the other postings on our community corkboard.
The County Durham Community Corkboard.
I'm afraid you're ruining the immersion created by the green screen. Yes, welcome to your Chris Pollard Live, County Durham Community Corkboard, the one-stop shop for those newsletter notices, public postings, and reasonable requests made by you, the good listeners of Chris Pollard Live. Our first tonight is from Phil the Shower Taylor and his telescopic toothbrushes. Satisfy all of your satisfiable regions, no matter how hard to reach. Just for God's sake, make sure you do your teeth with it before you do either your B, C, or S. Only $4 for 3. Next up on the community corkboard, we've got 2 holidays to give away. cannot attend due to after effects of gas leak in my building, departs tomorrow from East Midlands Airport at 10 p.m. 2 weeks self-catering, sunny retreat to the beautiful heart of bustling downtown Sheffield. Accommodation is in the semi-positively reviewed 2.5-star apartment above popular local gastropub The Butcher's Ankles. Flying with Ryanair direct to London Gatwick, where you'll be greeted by a tall chauffeur with a small thin moustache named Jebediah. Do not ask this man why his moustache is named that. He will be transferring you directly to London's King's Cross, where the first train to Sheffield is only a 5.5-hour wait. Please also note, due to the lateness of this emergency, in order for the tickets to be valid, you must have the names Valerie and Michael Marsupial. Please, no time wasters. Is your morning coffee not hitting the spot on your way to work in County Durham? Well, if you're passing through town, why not try the new hot spot that's serving Joe with a punch here at Whiz Bomb Coffee. Our secret blend of ingredients mixed masterfully in each drink, served has each customer has their eyes positively rolling back in their heads with the intense power of Whiz Bomb's secret formula special brew. Open 6 a.m. until 5:30 a.m. every day. Please show security staff on entry proof that you're neither a copper or a little telltale grass. Finally, here on the Community Corkboard, pension book found on St Graham Lasseau Street. Signature and personal information is identifiable. I'm writing to you today to try and locate the owner of this pension book and say thanks for taking my 5 kids to Florida next year. Next time, get some zips on your pockets. How outrageous!
How disgraceful! I've never been so appalled.
It's time for some music before we return with more handy advice on the removal of lice, along with a revealing new flag that I've designed, which I truly hope will finally unite the people of Cumbria. But until then, here is the Slackers with Married Girl.
She said, please don't tell all your friends.
Chris Pollard live. It ain't over till the Bovril's bubbling.
One step beyond.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chris Pollard Live, where it's almost bedtime for Putin. You have just heard the magnificence of the Mystery Lights with What Happens When You Turn the Devil Down, and before that you heard Married Girl by the Slackers, laced with unconsiderable behaviour. Could have definitely found a better phrase for that. Unconsiderable behaviour it is, but what I don't find unconsiderable, what I find abhorrent and disgrace, however, is the lack of promotional materials, adverts, and sort of general online hype, promoted tweets, Facebook promotions around the new season of Sky One's Around the World in 70 Cheeses with John Cleese and his imaginary tweezers. I thought they would change the nation's perspective on cheese and Cleese. However, crime seems to be rife in County Durham at the moment. Maybe that's the reason why no one's got it on Series Link. Who knows where to turn when we feel at least society must burn, for us to get anywhere at least. But regardless of that and the trouble that we find ourselves in, there's always time for some sports news.
World of Sport.
Following the postponement of several top-flight games this weekend due to the lack of trust shown in the particular fans of those clubs to keep quiet when they were supposed to. The FA have today announced the newly proposed fixture dates for those top-flight clubs affected. Of course, Bruce Mahogany was set to manage his first game in charge at Wolves against near rivals, the Birmingham Coyotes. That match will now take place on October 4th, and Mahogany will instead lead out his first 11 in his first game tomorrow in the Europa League clash as they take on Sporting Bruschetta in Hamburg. Muse Malinir has taken newly promoted Grimsby Town to the top of the Premier League at the first time of asking, as his expected romp over League Minnows Manchester United will now kick off on the third sundown of December. Finally, the scrap at the bottom of the league intensifies this weekend as Everton attempt to scrap 3 points again against struggling Warriors Southampton. But this time, the FA are letting them bring weapons onto the pitch. Why not watch all the desperate, devastating, the blood-curdling, agonising chaos now scheduled for 2 a.m. on Boxing Day night on Sky Sports box office itself, with commentary from none other than Iron Mike Tyson and lying Philip Schofield. You're going to want to put your kids to bed early for this one, because they might catch a glimpse of Frank Lampard, and you don't want to be having nightmares all the way through the new year. They are just a few of the sports headlines. If you want to know more of what's happening in the world of sport, we've all got Google. Why be so lazy? It's time for some music from one of my favourite bands of all time. No, not Elastic. It's System of a Down.
You're listening to Chris Pollard Live, paving the way for our nation's pickpockets.
Yes. Press them in the wrong order. Yes, welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. Trapping the confused elderly in the revolving hotel door of societal progress. I hope you enjoyed System of a Down with Spiders. I know I did. One of my favourite bands of all time. Gutted there's not going to be a new album on the horizon due to the drummer being a Trump supporter. That makes sense for that band. After the ad break you heard Monolithium by Scalping. Oh my god, what a smasher that is. Proper headphone wobbler. I think you'll agree. I also hope that you've enjoyed any crisps, nuts or dried fruits you've been eating in the last week or so. I know I've had my fair share of all three. We've had another great suggestion come through on our Big Question, Big Prize, Big Question, which was, of course, what's the best way to distract or evade supermarket security once the alarm's gone off? And Julie Bruce is in the lead right now for the big prize because she's texting to say that my much quicker method of escape when leaving the scene is to ensure the getaway vehicle has already made its way through the shop front and is parked in the centre of the shop/job. It can be quite a fun game also to try and drive the car back through the hole that you made perfectly, without causing any damage to property or vehicle. Like, you know the game show Hole in the Wall? Well, I've got a hole in my trouser pocket, which means that I keep losing my mum's lighters. That's why I keep robbing shops. Can anyone lend me some trousers or lighters? Here is your clip art image of the week.
Clip art image of the day.
Of the day? Oh. Yes, of course, it's your clip art image of the day, which was this week sent to us via email by Dungarees Darren. This week it is of a piano-playing jar of Hellmann's mayonnaise, draped in German wartime regalia, and he's playing one final concert in front of a British firing squad. That makes you proud, doesn't it? You know, 2 world wars, 1 cup. No, that's not it, is it? Oh, that's bringing back memories that's nothing to be proud of. I want to be back after a bit of light Googling and two lovers canoodling on Chris Pollard Liver live. I didn't mean to put an R on the script.
Chris Pollard Live. This is the sound of the future. This is the revolution. This is the manner.
This is a certified hood classic.
Yes, welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. Lightly fragranced for discreetness and thick enough to handle any amount of dog wastage. The music tonight has been fantastic in my opinion. That's because the songs that I like, not the songs that you like. There was Eating Glue. Who's that by? It's disappeared. Just Google Eating Glue. Don't follow any instructional guides. Yes, I personally think that the music tonight, to sum it up in a well-known phrase, would be something quite literally to write to your uncles about. But, I mean, what about the music that your aunties like, you know? What about the current hit parade of today? There's music so familiar with the siblings of your parents on the female side. So let's see what September has looked like so far. Up the charts.
Up the charts.
Because this is your rapid fire blast through the current pop top 10. So you don't have to listen to 4 hours of god-awful radio on a Sunday as they slowly drag you to a disappointing conclusion. Sounds like going out with me. In at number 10, in our current pop top 10, it's none other than Platinum Paul, featuring Sinead O'Connor, with Touched by the Light of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Number 9 is a new entry on the top 10 this week, featuring Bruno Mars on lead vocals. Love Came Too Quickly is a toe-tapping new single from funk trio Washing Up Bowl. Number 8 is a past number 1 that I think we're all just about starting to get a bit sick of. Of course, it's Dua Lipa's thunderous call to arms, Swindon Town 4, Macclesfield United 1. Number 7 remains in the same spot as it was last week, and it is of course Elton John's updated take on Candle in the Wind, with fresh bass elements added by David Guetta and guest vocals performed by David Williams. At a time when we needed them most, Elton and the two Davids came back to bring us a bit more of that comforting normality on such a crazy time on this planet we call Earth. I can't wait to see what they've got in store for us next year. You say Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I say John, Guetta and Williams. Hurry up with that debut album. You can't save the world of music with just one charity single a year. Number 6 on the top 10 is Desperate for a Cack by Lewis Capaldi. Number 5 is a new entry from Madonna from her comeback club compilation, Working Men's Club. This is the opening track from the album Shop Mobility, and if this one's anything to go by, the Queen is back, and she's experimenting with things she's found under the kitchen sink. And I don't mean she's making trousers out of bin liners. Number 4 is the odd sock wearing boy band, the James Corden Experience, and their new solemn love letter to the 90s, Tamagotchi in My Bum. Number 3, hip-hop wordsmith Kenneth Maltloaf returns with a top 3 spot with his latest hit, combined with R&B legend Johnny Acorns. It is, of course, Two's Company, Theresa May. Number 2, it's Elvis's infamous lost hit finally restored to promote the recent biopic which has dominated our cinema screens. It's finally available to purchase and it's right to number 2 this week. Of course, it was once a very private and secretive apology ballad to his ex-wife and is now a matter of public record. It is, of course, the hauntingly beautiful X Factor Simon OMG.gif. But your number 1 hit of today this week, up the charts, as according to all the reputable online streamsters, chartsters, and people I asked in Aldi this morning, it's that hit machine, Harry Styles. One more time proving, once and for all, that if he can be the breakout star of One Direction, then good God, they really must have been absolute tripe in their heyday. His newest release has shot to the top spot quicker than someone in the comments could type out "Come to Brazil." It's the funky new single, Little Things in the Bins at St Pancras Station. Do you agree with the general public on where those have fallen within the top 10? If so, who do you take it up with? Who do you write to? Not me. I'm just here for the health insurance coverage and the 13% off it gets me at TK Maxx. Here's some music while I'm gonna go and be sick over the fence onto my neighbour's sizzling barbecue because it's hard to do radio and have to smell a beautiful mouth-watering barbecue cooking away over the fence and through my single glazing. So I'm gonna go do that, and providing the police don't show up before the ad break, we will be back right after a couple of tunes here on Chris Pollard Live. Thank you for joining me. You're listening to Durham on Air, and there's only 20 minutes left. Let's comb that hair.
Captain, there is a Chris Pollard live on the radar. It's also on DAB and online radio. What's your Captain?
So welcome back to Chris Pollard Live. Putting enough carrots in your diet that you won't even need to turn your headlights on when you drive home tonight. There was the sounds of the specials with Ghost Town, and after the ad break you heard Time of the Season by Zombies. 2 absolute old school classics, and we've got 2 more for you before the end of tonight's programme. Fantastic. The winner of tonight's Hey Chris Pollard Live big question, big prize is Stefan B, who emailed to say, why not steal an 8-foot sharpened samurai sword every time you go out? See how close the security can get to you then, because he can guarantee it won't be any closer than 8 foot. That's good enough for me. You will be, of course, winning those 8 t-shirts. Please use a very delicate magnet on them, because in my past experience with these things, trying to release the security tag with force causes a large ink explosion, and that's even harder to get out than blood and elderberry wine. Here is your hot headline. Your hot headline this week. Biden forces urethra tap dancing bill through Congress, despite pushback from ring-wall gentrification. Democrats expected to vote tomorrow on legislation on erotic fishing tackle to distract mainstream media news outlets from urethra tap dancing bill Congress bill. My dog ate chocolate and died in the kitchen while I watched an old Top Gear on Deja Vu. I'll see you after one last wild stab in the dark here on Chris Pollard Live. R.I.P. Maltesers. Not my dog. I just don't enjoy him anymore. As I've grown up, I don't really enjoy the texture. Least favourite revel. I'll go out on a limb and say it. That's your hot headline.
Headline.
I'm joking. It's time for your time capsule.
Time capsule. The time capsule.
All my homies love the time capsule. And here is the section of the show, the final section of tonight's show by the looks of things, where we place in 3 objets d'art of today, some zeitgeist memorabilia that'll reach up right now and feel ya. Going in this week, our 3 items are: number 1, a caramel George Galloway. Number 2 is a wicker basket in the shape of the Spotify logo. And number 3 in the time capsule this week, it's 500 receipts to a Swiss sausage salesman. They haven't been included in my tax returns. Naughty me. And there's no wonder I keep ending up in prison. I'll be saying a heartfelt goodbye after this solid gold piece of magic from the late great Toots and his still alive Maytals, I think. If I'm crying when we return, it's because I remembered that my dog got into the chocolate and didn't even keep the receipt. That's my luck. Here's Toots with Time Tough.
Chris Pollard Live, a lifeline for those with limescale. On Durham Lab.
Yes, it pains me to say farewell, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Farewell. I'll be back on Saturday night at 10 p.m. for some guppy dance floor. Let's get our raving shoes on. You've got a book to read over the next week. And don't forget that old Chinese proverb. A handful of marbles in the town square is worth 3 in the pocket. And that's only fair. If that doesn't resonate with you, you're a mug, and I hope your house gets burgled this evening. Only joking. I'll see you next week for Chris Pollard Live. And maybe even sooner, I'll catch up with your wife. Good evening.